This is the Gerry Callahan Show.
I think we should end this year the way we began it, the way we spent many, many days in 2025, which was by all accounts a wild year for us, for all of us. The question is, who votes for these people? How do they get elected? How are these people in public office? And I'm not just talking about Tim Walz and Keith Ellison and Ilhan Omar and Jacob Fry, the dancing fool who never misses an opportunity to pander to the Somali community. Throw Jacob Fry up there. We need a laugh. There he is, dancing away. There's the same clown that spoke in Somalian at his rally. Here he is waving a Somali flag and, of course, gagging down Somali food. How do these people get elected? I'm also talking about the list of clowns and cartoon characters that we talk about every day. You know, Eric Swalwell and Adam Schiff and Ed Markey and Rosa DeLauro, you know, the bag lady from Connecticut. How are these people elected officials? Who put them in office? I think we have an answer to that today, certainly to this week, and it's twofold. One is voter fraud. Clearly, right now, here's your update on what Democrats are doing, the Democrat Party. 22 Democratic states are currently suing the Trump administration to hide their voter data. The Trump administration has demanded they turn over voter data to reveal just how much voter fraud is going on in blue states, and they're refusing, and they're going to court to stop it. 21 Democrat states are suing the Trump administration to continue to give SNAP benefits, welfare to illegal aliens. Those are your elected officials controlling states and fighting at every turn to continue fraud. Another word for that is crime. Yes, they are protecting criminals. And so much has come to light in the last few days since Nick Shirley's amazing video out of Minneapolis, where he exposed dozens of fake daycare centers and healthcare centers run by Somalis who are scamming taxpayers, Minnesota taxpayers and federal taxpayers, out of millions, hell, billions. It was U.S. Attorney Joseph Thompson, I believe, who estimated the amount of fraud in one state would be more than $9 billion. That's one state. It's happening everywhere. It's happening in California and in Maine and in Massachusetts and in Columbus, Ohio. We will get to that. This thing that Nick Shirley kicked off with this video is going to be so revealing, because all it took was a 23-year-old kid in a hoodie with a camera to go door to door to show just how much they are stealing from you. So why doesn't someone do that in every state? They're doing it in Maine. Our friends at the Maine Wire are exposing it in Maine. They're doing it in Ohio. They're going to do it in California, where the amount of fraud, the theft, will be staggering. And the incredible thing is, people will still vote for the criminals. Tim Walz is a criminal. Ilhan Omar is a criminal. Jacob Fry, I'm not sure he's smart enough to be involved in the fraud, but he's certainly a pandering clown who knows he's only got a job because of these Somalis that he's slobbering over while they steal, while they rob taxpayers blind. And we know part of the scam is not just getting these people into the country and giving them all the benefits, giving them SNAP and welfare and driver's licenses, which then in turn allows them to vote. And as we explained yesterday, in Minnesota, one person, one registered voter can vouch for 8 others. Just say, yeah, I vouch for them. They're legal voters, and they can vote. And they vote for Democrats every single time. I think the question most people have today, most people, rational people, normal people, is what's the benefit? What benefit does this Somali community in Minneapolis, in Maine, in Ohio, what benefit do they bring to our country? We have reached the point where we look at it, we say, okay, we understand. We bring in immigrants from around the world. It's just what we do. But at what point do we wonder, do we ask, do we say, what does it do for us? What does it do for America? I know we've asked this question before, but can you name one thing, one positive thing, bringing 100,000 people from Somalia, a lawless nation with an average IQ of 68? Can you name one thing? I can name plenty of negatives. I can point out the problems they bring, but can you name one positive thing? You know what it is? You know what the one positive thing is? They vote Democrat. They elect people, criminals, corrupt people like Omar and Walls and Janet Mills in Maine. They elect people who serve them, and serving them means turning a blind eye to corruption. I think we have to stop calling or saying people like Walls and Mills and Letitia James and you name it they missed this fraud. They missed it. They just didn't catch it. They didn't miss it. The Democrats are just like the media. They didn't miss it. They intentionally, deliberately covered it up. Again, Walls is a moron, but he's not that dumb. He knew what was going on. Hell, he bragged about it in the vice presidential debate. Get this clip. This is amazing. We watched, it was probably 60, 70 million people watching him debate J.D. Vance, and he got his ass kicked. It was pathetic. But here he is explaining that they will make it easier to open daycare centers. He knew when he said this that this was a scam. He knew it was a way to enrich, to pay back the Somali community for electing him and other Democrats. If you were to check the voter rolls, if you were to poll the Somali community, I would guarantee you there wasn't one who voted for a Republican, not one. They were motivated not by their loyalty to the Democrat Party. They were voting for themselves to enrich themselves. They were voting to continue this scam, which has been going on since this clown got elected. Since 2018, they've been stealing hundreds of millions of dollars, and they knew if they kept him in office and Fry and Omar, they knew it could continue. Here is Tampon Tim saying we have to make it easier to keep for these scammers to continue to rob us blind. Go ahead.
We in Minnesota passed a paid family medical leave. You have a child, and I had to go back to work 5 days after my kids were born. This allows you to stay home a certain amount of time. What we know is that gets the child off to a better start. The family works better. We stay in their employers. We get more consistency in that. So Kamala Harris has made it a priority. We implemented it in Minnesota, and we see growth. That's how you become a pro-business state. And so a paid family medical leave program, and I will tell you, go to the families or go to the businesses and ask them. As far as childcare on this, you have to take it at both the supply and the demand side. You can't expect the most important people in our lives to take either our children or our parents to get paid the least amount of money. And we have to make it easier for folks to be able to get into that business and then to make sure that folks are able to pay for that. We were able to do it in Minnesota, and I'm still telling you this. We were listed as the best state. We're still in crisis on this. A federal program of paid family and medical leave and help with this will enhance our workforce, enhance our families, and make it easier to have the children that you want.
We have to make it easier to get into the daycare business. Could it be any easier? Yesterday, Kristi Noem announced they were going in hard to Minneapolis, and there's video. You could see federal agents going in, knocking on doors. You know what we didn't see? We didn't see raids, like the one on Mar-a-Lago, like the one on Roger Stone's house, or the one on Peter Navarro. We didn't see raids. We didn't see handcuffs. We didn't see arrests. We just saw him knocking on doors saying, hell, Nick Shirley did the job for you. We know the Quality Leering Center has no kids. We know none of these places have no kids. There's an incredible thread. See if you can throw that up for me, of a guy in Minneapolis who went to about a dozen of these places in the last few days, went to the alleged daycare centers. There's 10 or 12 here. Not one kid. Not one kid. In fact, none of them even look like daycare centers. I don't think I've ever seen a daycare center that doesn't at least have a little playground. There's not one playground. There's not one outdoor area. These are places where the windows are covered up. There you go here. Look at that. Look at these places. They can't be more than, 800 square feet. These are all crime scenes. Look at that. Looks like a garage. One after another. Tell me one that looks like a functioning daycare center. They're not. They're all scamming, stealing. And Democrats like Walz and Fry are looking the other. Look at that one. Would you ever send your child there? Of course not. But you don't have, nobody does. There's no kids. They were given permission by Democrats to run this scam. In return, they get their votes. They get their support. This has been going on for years. They first started investigating this like 10 years ago. They busted a bunch of them last year. Let me check the numbers on this one. Yes, they arrested 98 individuals, 85 Somalis in the Feed the Future scam, which was developed by Ilhan Omar. That was her bill that passed that allowed these criminals to claim they were feeding kids. They weren't feeding kids. Look at that thing right there. There's no cars. There's no people. There's no kids. That's just a small sample of these places. And Nick Shirley went to one place. I mean, obviously, his video went viral. It's got over 120 million views. Nick Shirley is the media now. These guys, these independent journalists, they are the media now. This story is still being covered up by the mainstream media. If they talk about it at all, they defend it. So now you have another 80-20, 90-10 issue where Democrats are on the wrong end. Again, you ask, how do they get elected? How do people who want, boys and girls locker rooms and transgender for everyone, who support DEI and drag queens in schools and higher taxes, who want to spend billions on the climate scam? How do you get elected when you defend Kilmar Abrego Garcia and MS-13 and Tren de Aragua gang members? You get elected by bringing in new voters from Somalia, from Haiti, from wherever, to vote for you. And here we have a new issue. How do you defend this? What is the defense for what we're seeing unfold in all these communities, for these foreign scam artists who come in and steal, and don't just, grab a little around the edges, steal billions from taxpayers? It's not enough that they get free everything, that they get hotel rooms and phones and food and lawyers and translators and Ubers. That wasn't enough. So you'd think this would outrage everyone. Even Ironhead asked that question to me this morning. Who could be against ending this fraud? Who could be circling the wagons around the scammers, the criminals who've robbed taxpayers? Well, we'll get to that. They're out there. But I want to get to Nick Shirley because this is so good. He's only 23, but he has a little son, little Joey. He wants to get little Joey into daycare. He went to the healthcare company, the healthcare insurance providers, which don't exist, and he asked for their rates, and none of them could give him a rate. None of them could give him even a pamphlet because they don't exist. They're all fronts for Democrat crime. Here he is going to a daycare center, looking for a place to put, little Joey during the day while he's at work. And they don't even pretend to offer the service of caring for children, for children while parents go to work. They don't even know what the hell he's talking about. This is what's so outrageous. These aren't criminal geniuses. These are really stupid people, and that they pulled it off. Because of Walz and Ellison and Peggy Flanagan, the lieutenant governor with the hijab, because of them, these people were allowed to pull this off and rob us of billions. Watch this.
Here at Future Leaders Early Learning Center, this building received over $3 million. Hello, how are you? I would like to see if I could bring little Joey, my son little Joey here. Is there paperwork, or can I check out the daycare? No? Why can't I check out the daycare?
It's not here.
Okay, but if I can't get paperwork or anything to submit my son little Joey to come in here to daycare? We'd really like to put Joey in this daycare. We've heard great things.
Business card?
No, I would like your business card, actually.
You talk to your manager.
Okay, can I speak with somebody? Where are the children at? Are there children here today?
No.
No children.
Yes.
Why are there no children?
Two of Mexico.
Would my son, little Joey, have friends to play with here?
No.
No.
Yes.
No friends for little Joey.
Yes. Sorry.
Dang it. Well, have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
So little Joey would not be accepted to that daycare.
Joey's still homeless.
Joey's still looking for daycare.
And because little Joey couldn't get into a daycare, we went to an autism center, as they have been popping up everywhere as a rise of autism has occurred here in Minnesota because of the government funds that they're receiving. I tried to check my son Joey into an autism center.
We've been going to a lot of these daycare centers. We're trying to find a spot for our little boy Joey, but we thought maybe we could check him in the autism center because none of the daycare centers are open. Yeah, and how many kids do you guys have at this autism center?
I can't give you a number now.
Like more than 5?
Probably, yeah.
Probably, so you don't really know.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about like the fraud that's been labeled on the autism centers here? What do you guys do think about the fraud, or how come the autism centers are popping up?
I can't answer.
What news? Are you a news reporter?
My name's Nick. We're doing a little documentary trying to find little Joey a spot to put himself in one of these centers here because there's
So are you asking us about
the fraud.
and stuff like that?
Yeah, because we want to make sure we're going to legit business if we're going to bring our little boy Joey here.
This is not a Joe spot. Yeah. But that's our number. Yeah, you have to call it. But this is we can't let you guys see. So.
I don't know. They look like autism experts to me. Would you bring your child with autism to go see those folks, Ironhead?
Never.
That is amazing. We have immigrants, legal or otherwise, who can't speak English with again, average IQ of 68, who come from a hellhole country, who come here. They must be just amazed at their luck to end up there where they just give you money. Just put a sign out. The sign says Minneapolis Autism Center. They don't even know what autism is. And yet they just build a state. That place got $3 million. $3 million on top of all the other benefits they're sucking up. So what do you do if you're in the mainstream media? What do you do if you're a Democrat? Well, first of all, you do what Walz did yesterday. He accused Shirley of being a white supremacist. He talked about white people committing all the crimes. What are you talking about, Governor? This is your state. These are your people. And just play the beginning of this clip. Here's Walz yesterday. God, he can't stay in office. I mean, he's got to quit. He's got to get arrested. He's got to go down and go down hard. This is the most corrupt state run by the biggest fool who was almost vice president. By the way, next time Kamala does a appearance, does one of these book tour interviews, could someone ask her, did you know what was going on in Minneapolis, in Minnesota, with this fool that you tapped as your running mate? Did you realize just how out of control the corruption, the crime, the fraud was in this state? If you didn't, man, you are even dumber than we thought. Here's Tampon Tim yesterday.
This is what happens when they target communities for their own benefit. This is what happens when they scapegoat. And this is what happens when they no longer hide the idea of white supremacy.
All right, white supremacy. Could you help me? What do you mean, Governor? What does this have to do with white supremacy? You think they're letting white people get away with fraud, with fake daycares? You made this happen. You set these people up. You did this for a reason. You got elected because of these people who were stealing from the taxpayers. But it's white supremacy. It's the white people. That is a desperate man right there. That is the look, the sound of desperation. And the media is not much better. Get to this Mara Gay. This person is incredible. I mean, she's central casting. She is on the editorial board of the New York Times. And they're forced to analyze this, discuss this because of Shirley, because it's a big deal. They hid it, they covered it up as long as they could. Now it is out in the open. And of course, she claims the Trump administration has weaponized the DOJ. Weaponized, that there's billions in fraud. Would they prefer we continue to ignore it, to look the other way, to let them get away with it? Here is this absolute, this New York Times editorial board member and MS Now contributor, Maura Gay. Go ahead.
So absolutely, it should be investigated. The question is, why is this a priority in a different kind of way? The politicization of the DOJ and the FBI is undeniable. So whether they are reliable narrators is the big question. And this is what happens when you weaponize and politicize federal agencies that are not meant to be, politicized. And I think the American people are right to ask the question, well, can we trust you? And that's a sad thing to say as an American. Let's recall, too, that there's also other scandals in other states. For example, the Mississippi welfare scandal. And this is not unique to politics. Americans know that. But of course, the other factor here is that because it looks like the Somali population in Minnesota, the Somali immigrant population may have been involved in some way, those people are being scapegoated, and that community is being scapegoated in a way that certainly serves the far right. And so that's also something to keep an eye on, and that's inappropriate.
The Somali community is being scapegoated. You watched the video. I watched the video. Hell, we've already seen whatever it was, 92 arrests, and there's going to be many, many more. We've seen a state went from an $18 billion surplus to a deficit because of this fraud and because of Walls and Omar and others. And the answer from the New York Times lady is they're scapegoating the community. They're weaponizing the DOJ. Why can't they just say these people bad, fraud bad, stealing bad? These immigrants are not, they're not sending their best, but they just can't give it up. They can't because they're so blinded by Trump hatred that it's Trump's fault for we should all be concerned that Trump's arresting criminals from Somalia. As a reminder, let's look back. We should do this every once in a while. This is like one of the all-time great clips from the mainstream media. Again, a New York Times editorial board member, considered, one of the bright lights in the Democrat orbit, on MSNBC all the time. Here she is before the 2016 election, or is it 2020? I don't know. Talking about how Mike Bloomberg spent $500 million on his campaign and what he could have done with that money to better serve the country. This should be hanging in the Louvre. This is absolute classic. Same woman breaking down the Bloomberg campaign and all the money they're spending. Go ahead.
But you see it as a possibility if he wants to spend $1 billion beating this guy, he could do it.
Absolutely. Somebody tweeted recently that actually with the money he spent, he could have given every American $1 million.
I've got it. Let's put it up on the screen. When I read it, Tonight on social media, it kind of all became clear. Bloomberg spent $500 million on ads. U.S. population 327 million. Don't tell us if you're ahead of us on the math. He could have given each American $1 million and have had lunch money left over. It's an incredible way of putting it.
It's an incredible way of putting it. It's true. It's disturbing. It does suggest, what we're talking about here, which is there's too much money in politics. And it makes it difficult because what we want in
It's true. It's true. I get your calculator out. 327 million times 1 million. She thinks that adds up to 500 million. That was actually aired on MSNBC by their experts there. Brian Williams, another respected left-wing journalist, and Mara Gay from the New York Times. Yes, it's true, and it's disturbing. Why didn't he just give everyone $1 million? That is such a perfect look at the mentality, the Democrat mindset. Just give everyone $1 million. Everyone will be happy. All right, we got to get to the next step, the next frontier, Columbus, Ohio, and it's coming everywhere. I'm telling you, Nick Shirley is the man. He is a pioneer here, showing people how easy it could be, how easy it is to expose this fraud. They're doing it in Columbus. And I want to talk more about voter ID. The most insane thing about this current do-nothing Congress and Senate under Trump. Trump's working his ass off. Trump's getting a lot done. And, whether it's the Middle East or Russia, Ukraine, or here, blowing up drug boats, 2 more Coke boats blown up yesterday. Congress is doing nothing. And here's the litmus test. Will they pass the SAVE Act? Will they require voter ID nationally? There is no reason not to do this. None. First of all, it eliminates or limits the fraud, the voter fraud. Secondly, it helps Republicans because Democrats commit much, 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 much more voter fraud, as we've seen in Minnesota. They're not doing it, but we have just an incredible man on the street interview of Democrats, white Democrats, and why they think voter ID is racist. And then we hear from some black voters who think who have no problem with it. This has to happen by November. We need voter ID, which will change everything, which will be a crushing blow to the Democrat Party. We'll get to that and more. But first,
Excuse me.
here's something most doctors know that most men never talk about. Stress from work, money, and family doesn't just disappear at night. It follows you into the bedroom. You can be lying next to the woman you've loved for years, and suddenly your mind will not let your body do what it's always done naturally. For situations like this, doctors look for treatments that help both the brain and the body. That's where Rougiette Ready comes in. Unlike Viagra and Cialis, Rougiette Ready is a next-generation prescription treatment designed to help prime the brain for arousal and increase blood flow. It combines 3 clinically proven ingredients in 1 mint that dissolves under your tongue so it absorbs fast. Most men are ready in about 15 minutes on average, so you can stay present, confident, and in control when the moment is right. Over 150,000 men have already made the switch to Rougiette. Getting started is simple. Rougiette connects you with a board-certified doctor online, and your order ships discreetly to your door. For a limited time only, head to Rougiette.com/Newsmax to get 15% off your order. That's Rougiette, RUGIET.com/Newsmax to get 15% off your order. Trust me, you don't want to miss this. All right. Trying to figure out what's coming next. You know what? Any minute now, here's the story. You heard it here, not first, but hey, I'll claim I said it first. A bomb threat, an alleged MAGA bomb threat, will be called into one of those, or more than one of those daycare centers, those fake daycare centers in Minneapolis. Get ready. It's going to be red meat for the MSNBC crowd. MAGA, they're resorting to bomb threats Oh, they're resorting to violence. It'll be all made up. It won't be real, but that's coming any minute now. And here's another question that I just can't get out of my mind. Where's the next attack? Don't forget last New Year's Eve in New Orleans, a Muslim terrorist with a truck ran down and killed 14 innocent people because the incompetent DEI police chief didn't know they had barriers they could have put up to stop it. That happened less than a year ago. I feel like something's simmering right now, and we're going to see it again, which is a little scary. All right, well, let me get to Columbus, Ohio, which apparently is the next front in this battle on fraud, Somali fraud. As we've said many times, asking the question, why do you bring them here? Why would you want to bring Somali immigrants here? Their culture is different from ours. They don't have a government. They don't have a central government. They are run by warlords. It is a lawless society where fraud is accepted. I mean, there's just a pile of money and you do everything you get to try and get it. They don't look at it as immoral, unethical. It's a way of life. And they didn't come here and change. They came here and saw a really fertile grounds to commit this kind of fraud. So it's not just going to happen in Minneapolis. It's going to be everywhere they are. And other cultures similar, other third world cultures are similar. It's not their fault. They were raised. That's how they learned. That's how things were done. Here's a guy in Columbus, Ohio, doing the exact same thing Nick Shirley did. And he's going to continue to do it. And it's going to happen in Maine and Massachusetts and California and everywhere. You're going to see this. This is new. This is going to be in all these blue states, all these Somali communities in the country. And at some point, we're all going to have to agree. We got a big problem here. We got a big problem. They're committing fraud. Democrats are looking the other way, allowing it, facilitating it, because they know they will get their votes. Here is the latest from Columbus, Ohio.
It's a daycare center owned by Somalians and stuff like that.
Have you ever seen any kids in this place here?
No, not that I know of. I just seen it, the building itself. I've never seen nobody come out the building or go in the building.
You've never seen anybody over there?
No, not at all.
So right now we are in front of the Great Minds Learning Academy. This is one of the many daycare centers, learning centers here in Columbus, Ohio that are associated with the Somali community. As you know, Nick Shirley put out a bombshell report about all these fraudulent daycare facilities in Minneapolis, Minnesota. So we wanted to come out to Columbus, Ohio and investigate what might be going on in the second largest Somali community in the United States of America. So this place here is the first place we're going to knock, and we're going to see if anybody picks up or answers the door. Let's see. So it's locked. We're ringing the doorbell here. Knocking on the door. Nobody's picking up. So we're not sure what the hell's going on here, but we're gonna get out of here. Now there's somebody over there. How you doing, sir? I'm sure you see the reports over the weekend about all the daycare centers in Minnesota. We just wanted to see what was going on. Did you know anything about this place here?
It's a daycare center owned by Somalians and stuff like that.
Do you ever see any kids there?
No, because they use the back door, so I won't know if they is.
They use the back door.
Yeah, I've never seen nobody come in it, but they use the back door.
But have you ever seen any kid? You live around here?
Yeah, on this building right here.
Oh, you're in this building?
Yeah.
You're in this building too? Let me ask you, have you ever seen any kids in this place here?
No, not that I know of. They use the back, so I've never seen nobody come out the front.
You've never seen anybody over there?
No, not at all.
I just seen it, the building itself. I've never seen nobody come out the building or go in the building.
So we came to the back, just like those guys suggested, and there's nothing here. You know, we can keep poking around, but there's so many of these centers to go to. We're just getting started. So we're gonna go around the city. We're gonna go to a few more of these places. We're gonna see if we can get anybody to talk to us. Stay tuned.
We're going to go around the city, and what they're going to find is more of that. everywhere. Look at the back of the building. Does that look like a daycare center? It's not. It's just they made it so easy for these people to steal. It's just incredible. And it's happening everywhere. And what's the answer from the mainstream media? Well, again, initially ignore it, cover it up with a pillow until it goes away. But now here was the narrative yesterday. What do you expect daycare center workers to do when strange men show up and ask, where are the kids? That's the narrative. That's what you heard from Jessica Tarloff on Fox. Now, what do you, and you saw it on X too, and it's just so silly. There are no kids, so they're not going to catch any kids on camera, and it's not a daycare center. It's a fraud. So of course you should go in there with your cameras and ask questions. But here's Abby Phillips, the insufferable Abby Phillips, criticizing Nick Shirley and others who are demanding answers from these criminal enterprises. Go ahead.
Because this is about politics. I get that. Politics is politics. But, honestly, you knock on the door of a daycare center and you're like, let me in, let me in. What do you expect people to do? In some of those cases, there were children in there. What do you want people to do in that situation? Open the door and say, come on in, when they know that the Somali community is under attack, is being threatened every single day? What is going on here?
Wow. The Somali community is under attack and being threatened with what? Threatened with what? Prosecution? There were no children. We watched all of Nick Shirley's videos. I saw the guy in Columbus. There are no children, and they're not daycare centers, stupid. They're not, in case you can't quite put the pieces together, Abby, they're not daycare centers, and there are no children. And her answer is the Somali community is under attack. Well, I think the pendulum is swinging. Here's Tom Emmer, senator from Minnesota, Republican, and he used to be just another one of these pandering stooges. He wanted to be part of the Somali caucus in Congress, and he defended, his Somali neighbors. Well, I'll defend him in this regard. He didn't know the extent of the fraud, the crime. He didn't know what these people were up to 6 or 7 years ago when he pandered like Walls and Frey. He shouldn't have, but he's changing his tune, and that's a good thing. We want people to wake up. Here he is, breaking. I'm calling for the denaturalization and deportation of every Somali engaged in fraud in Minnesota. He writes, I have 3 words regarding Somalis who've committed fraud against American taxpayer. Send them home. If they're illegally, deport them. If they're naturalized citizens, revoke their citizenship and deport them quickly. If we need to change the law to do that, I will. Our nation will not tolerate those who take advantage of our charity and refuse to assimilate into our culture. That's the way right there. Denaturalize, deport. It's not just enough to deport illegals. People who've been naturalized and then rip us off for billions have got to go. That's going to be another test of the Trump administration. See if they have the spine, the will to pursue that. And I know a good place to start. How about with Congressman Ilhan Omar, who clearly committed immigration fraud? Wouldn't that be a good place to start? Wouldn't that just be a wonderful way to kick off 2026, deporting that woman who already pledged her loyalty to Somalia? She said she's here in Congress serving Somalia. It is amazing. They come from the worst place in the world, a total hellhole. They get everything here, everything. They have money and homes and everything, and they still
not over Black Hawk Down yet.
And by the way, she's here because her father was a colonel in a genocidal military and fled the country, in Civil War, and took his family. That's how she ended up here. So she leaves a violent, war-torn country, comes here, gets everything handed to her, and says, my real loyalty is with Somalia. Why? Shouldn't you be grateful every day? That's what's going to bother Americans more than anything. Just the abject ingratitude of the people who have given everything. So if you're driving to work, if you're driving home from work, if you're looking at your paycheck, just know a piece of that came out of your check to go to Somalians who came here, didn't try to learn the language, didn't try to assimilate, do not even barely interact with other people outside their community, and are focused on stealing from you. That's what we're dealing with right now. And Democrats and the media will defend it because they will vote for them. Simple as that. They will vote, they will get their friends to vote, and they will keep these people in office. Why? Because it is easy to cheat in American elections. Again, all these blue states, Kamala states, are fighting tooth and nail against voter ID. Voter ID, this more than any other issue, should people should be motivated and mobilized to get voter ID passed in their state, in the country. I mean, there's only one reason to oppose voter ID: so you can cheat. There's no other explanation. Now, we have brainwashed, dumb, young liberals to thinking there's some racial component to it, but it's absurd. Just think what people say when they oppose voter ID. They say, oh no, black people don't have IDs? What? Why? You can get ID for free, but they don't have to do that because they already have IDs. They have IDs. Everyone has an ID. The idea that certain people don't have IDs, well, if you're so, unmotivated to not have an ID, so you want them to vote? It makes no sense. But we brainwashed people into thinking there's a racial component. And when they have laws like they did, in Georgia to pass voter ID laws, then, people like Major League Baseball call it racist, and Joe Biden calls it Jim Crow 2.0. It's all a lie. It's the most transparent lie of them all. They know minorities have IDs. They know it's a simple thing. And they know every country in the world but us requires voter ID. 47 countries, I believe, in Europe, 46 require voter ID. Every democracy requires voter ID except us, because Democrats have come up with this lie that it's racist, and they've gotten people to buy it, to believe it. I want to play this video. It's a couple years old, but it's just so perfect. A guy goes to Berkeley, California to ask white people about voter ID, and then he goes to Harlem to ask black people. And it's just, this thing, again, is just an all-time classic. Listen to these racist white people who think black people aren't smart enough to get IDs. Go ahead.
Do you have an opinion on voter ID laws?
They're usually pretty racist.
Those laws are racist?
For sure.
Do you think it suppresses the African-American vote?
Definitely, because they're less likely to have state IDs. These type of people don't live in areas with easy access to DMVs.
You think that's harder for black people to go online?
Well, I feel like they don't have the knowledge of how it works. A lot of people have smartphones, but you might not have data. For most of the communities, they don't really know what is out there just because they're not aware.
Now I'm here in East Harlem to ask black people their thoughts on what you just heard. You have ID?
Yes. Why would they think we don't have ID? Why would they say that?
Everybody that I know have ID.
I heard a lot also that black people can't figure out how to get to the DMV.
I know it's on 25th. It's on 125th Street.
I also heard a lot that black people, especially poor black people, have no access to the internet.
I had access to the internet for years. Who are these people talking to?
Do you have a problem that if you go to vote and they say, "Can we please see your ID?"
I love showing my ID.
You have an issue with that?
No.
That is so great. Those were college students at UCal Berkeley, the smart ones, saying black people don't have IDs because they don't know where the DMV is and they don't have the internet. That's the biggest problem. We have brainwashed young white liberals whose professors told them this, and they bought it and they believed it. It's such a lie. Republicans have to go to war over this. They have to draw a line in the sand and say, this is our top priority. We need voter ID laws everywhere. And again, the only reason to oppose that is so you can cheat, so you can do what they do in Minnesota, get illegals to vote. By the way, that's why they fought so hard to get illegals driver's licenses, not so they could drive, so they could vote. That's the story right now. And it's up to Republicans to to push this and push it hard. If they don't, again, they deserve to lose in November. But all right, we got to move here. I want to get here's what I'm going to do. We're going to get to the NFL last night. Drake May won the MVP last night, but I just came up with a list of things. There's things that annoy me. Yes, things annoy me that I want to get rid of in 20. If you could get rid of anything in 2026, I'm talking about expressions, words. Here's a couple things I'd like to get rid of that just see go away in 2026. I vowed to stop using any of these words. Here's what annoys me the most. Full stop. I can't stand people who say, that's the way it is, full stop. Can we stop saying full stop?
No cap.
What's that?
No cap.
No cap. How about this one? And it's so big on X, on Twitter. You can't make this up. You can't make this up. Stop saying that. Come up with another expression. You can't make this up. How about this?
Or a good one of those is I didn't have X on my bingo card.
Oh, that's number 4. Look at this iron. Number 4 on my list right there. Bingo card. God, I can't stand it. I didn't have that on my bingo card. Okay, that was cute, 10 years ago. No more bingo card in 2026. And here's an oldie, but it still annoys me. At the end of the day. Can we stop saying at the end of the day? I'll probably say it tomorrow, but bingo card, you're right. It's the word. It's the most annoying. I didn't have that on my bingo card. It just sounds so silly. All right, we're going to take some comments. So if you have any suggestions on things, expressions you'd like to get rid of in 2026, probably won't. I mean, it's social media. People just fall back on this. You can't make this up and full stop and bingo card. No more bingo card, please. All right, let's get to what happened last night. As predicted, everything is turning up Patriots. Matthew Stafford sucked last night. He had a chance to win the MVP last night. He was going to Atlanta to face the 6-9 Falcons, who had nothing to play for. The Rams did. They're going to the playoffs. They had a lot to play for. It was either the 2 seed or the 6 seed. They lost against Atlanta. They got upset. They sucked. Matthew Stafford threw 3 picks, including a pick 6. He was 22 of 38. And even Joe Buck said it at the end. His MVP candidacy took a huge hit. I think Drake May won the MVP last night. Here's what else is going to happen. The Chargers are going to win over the Broncos on Sunday, even though they got nothing to play for and they're not even playing their starters. Everything's turning up Patriots. The Chargers win. The Patriots get the top seed. Maybe. Might not happen, but I feel like everything is falling into place. And Drake May, 23 years old, same age as Nick Shirley, in his 2nd year, is going to win the MVP because Stafford, he had 2 touchdown passes, but he blew it. He had a chance to win this game if he had won it. If he hadn't gagged at the end, he missed a wide open receiver for a chance to put him in field goal range and tie it at the end. And everyone's watching Monday Night Football. All the voters are watching, and they're looking at it and they're saying something wrong here. That was a big boost to Drake May's candidacy, which I think is actually going to happen. Did we get any comments? Look at all these comments.
Yeah.
I keep promising to get to these, and I never do. The Somalis are victims. That's true. That's a good point, Kathy. They're victims. That's the reflex for Democrats. How can we make the perpetrators into victims? So people who are doing nothing but stealing, we showed you them. You got to meet them, some of them. They don't run businesses. They just build a state and get money, and it's adding up to billions. They're the victims. What can citizens do to demand anyone involved be prosecuted? Of course, we can vote out those who want this to continue, says Tina. You know what? That's all you can do. Yeah, I mean, you can certainly pressure it. You can share these videos, share the Columbus guy now. Everything Nick Shirley does, we can share it. Again, he's got 120 million views of that video. That's more than every click on CNN.com or MSNBC.com all year. They don't come close to the numbers Nick Shirley's putting up. Somalia is a failed state. Yes, it is. And somehow they have loyalty to it. Where on God's green earth is Tim Wall's bank account? follow the money. Here's what I think. I think Elon Omar's getting rich. I think a number of others. I'm not sure that moron is. I'm not sure Tim Walz is smart enough to be in on the scam. He might be. Somalians are 50% inbred with an average IQ of 68, says Crunk. That is true. Think of that. The people with an average IQ of 68 are scamming us out of billions. How is that even possible?
Because there's a state now where everyone's afraid to criticize someone. If you're a white person, you can't criticize anyone because it's immediately racist.
I know, but I'm starting to think that ain't working anymore. People, there's a real push now to push back on that, to say, let them call you what they want. Don't let them slow you down. That was the plan. That is in writing from the Somali activists, saying, if you get criticized, immediately call them racist or Islamophobic. That's the plan. But this is just so brazen. It's just so, the scale of this theft, I think it just overshadows any lame, trite, accusation of. I mean, they called Nick Shirley a white supremacist, and said it was about, there were white people committing crimes too. I don't think that's going to work anymore. I think that's one of the positive developments as we head into 2026, is these old, tired tactics are not going to fly anymore. They'll still use them. I mean, Elon Omar will say it, Walz, the same, clowns will say, this is Islamophobic. If Islamophobic means being afraid of Islam, yeah, we are. We're afraid they'll steal another billion. So I guess we all should be Islamophobic. Call us what you want. We're not backing down this time. We're not moving on. We're not accepting this. It makes no sense to bring in people who don't want to assimilate. And they're militant in their effort to not assimilate. They don't, hell, the Americans are assimilating to them, are accepting the 5 a.m. call to prayer, and the lieutenant governor's wearing a hijab, and the governor's flying the Somali flag, and the mayor's eating Somali food and dancing to Somali. The assimilation is going on. It's just going the other way. Americans are assimilating to them. They must sit back after they lock the door of the fake daycare center. They must just be laughing their asses off. It's just so easy this was to get these pandering fools to fall in line and assimilate to them.
Well, they're using them like the old school mob clubhouses where they would just go play cards all day.
That's true. This is like the whatever that was in Sopranos, the meat, whatever that place was called.
Patrials.
What is it? Patrials?
Satrials.
Satrials. This is that daycare center. The quality Leering Center. That is Satrials for Somalis. And but yeah, they're doing the same thing. What did Sopranos do? They said it's anti-Italian discrimination. This is Islamophobia. If you want to stop giving your hard-earned money to criminals who don't work. Again, 80% of the people involved here are already on welfare, but it's not enough. They look at this and they say, why not? These fools are going to, if we send them an invoice, they're going to send us millions, and we can buy cars and houses and send it home to Al-Shabaab. Incredible. Anyway, look at all these comments. I don't have time to get to all of them, but you got any more suggestions? I'm not seeing it. Here we go. I didn't have that on my bingo card. Let me get this straight, says Super Dave. Finding fraud is considered scapegoating. What kind of gaslighting is this? Maybe she has some theft going on and hopes the law will not see her. No, it's Abby Phillips and Jessica Tarloff. They're not stealing. They're just, their brains are broken. In the age of Trump, if something that their side is doing, they have to defend it under every circumstance. So these thieving criminals are robbing taxpayers, but Trump's prosecuting them, or hopefully going to prosecute them. So they must defend them. So Mara Gay and Abby Phillips say it's scapegoating. Scapegoating. God, these people are just insane. We're talking about billions of dollars stolen by foreign criminals, and they defend them. That's where we are. But it will continue. I'm pretty sure they're not going to stop. They're not going to do what a normal person would do, is look at this on its face, on its merits, and say it's wrong, it's criminal, it's insane. Why are we allowing it? Instead, they look and say, Trump's a white supremacist. Nick Shirley, that noted Klansman, is only doing this because they're people of color. Oh God, you stick with that. That's a winning strategy. But all right, we got to leave it there for today and for this week and for this year. Have an awesome New Year. Stay vigilant. I have a bad feeling about this New Year's Eve. I have a feeling we might see something like happened last New Year's Eve, Joe. Be careful out there. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I'm Gerry Callahan. This is The Callahan Show, and we will talk to you again next year.
Our country's at a tipping point. We could go bad. We're at a tipping point. I don't know if people mind me saying that, but I'm saying it. We could go one way or the other, and we're going to go the wrong way if we keep taking in garbage into our country. Ilhan Omar is garbage. She's garbage.